Welcome, everyone. It's time for a first look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Eagles' opponent next Sunday. Eagles insider Dave Spadaro, along with Brian Westbrook, the Hall of Famer, and the Bucs. Brian coming off a terrible season, making a lot of changes. They don't have their quarterback. It looks like a pretty good second game for the Eagles.
Well, it does look like a pretty good second game, but defensively, there's some things on the Bucs offense that you have to worry about. Mike Evans, big-time receiver, can go up and catch the football, similar to Julio Jones. Not as fast, really not as good as Julio, but a big receiver. Deshaun Jackson going down there facing him again, a guy that can. Deshaun Jackson, you remember him? Number 10, still in the league, still can run. He can take the top off the defense, so we have to keep an eye on him. One of the best ball-tracking receivers in the game. You also got to think about O.J. Howard, tight end. We have to make sure our defense and our secondary linebackers in particular are ready to play. Peyton Barber, their running back. He's a good running back. This team is solid. They're not an explosive team. They're just a solid football team.
But we think they're a solid explosive. But they play the New Orleans Saints week 1 here, and you know how it is. You don't really know what you've got until you go out and see it. And they've got Ryan Fitzpatrick at quarterback. Now, a savvy veteran, but not mobile, not a big arm. The way this Eagles defensive front played on Thursday night, he's going to be facing a lot of pressure.
Well, this is a great opportunity for our defense. Of course, our defensive line has to continue to get the push and pressure on the quarterback that they have in the past. But Ryan Fitzpatrick, the one thing that you know about him is that when he faces a little pressure, the ball's coming out. And when the ball comes out, Sidney Jones, Rodney McLeod, Ronald Darby, they have to be prepared to catch it. He will turn the football over, and that changes the course of a game, gives our offense more opportunities. I think we'll make the most of it.
A lot of emphasis for Tampa Bay, Brian, in the offseason on that defensive line. The Eagles know that. Great matchup for the Eagles. But from Tampa's standpoint, just 22 quarterback sacks last year. They bring in Jason Pierre-Paul. They bring in Vinny Curry. They bring in Bo Allen. And clearly, and their first-round draft pick, I believe, also, I'm not sure if he's going to play, though, is a defensive line. Clearly, the emphasis on winning the line of scrimmage, something that the Eagles have kind of mastered the art of.
Yeah, you have to win in the trenches. That's every single game. You have to win in the trenches. One of the strengths of our team is our offensive line. As long as everybody remains healthy, everybody remains confident, I think Doug understands how to play to our strengths. I think this game you'll see an awful lot more of the running early on in the game, allow that to set the tempo, and then to get Nick Foles in that passing game involved.
So let's talk about a little intangible here, and that intangible is in September in Tampa, the average temperature up in the high 80s, the humidity very high. I remember the game that we played down there and lost on the late field goal after you had the best screen catch, touchdown run.
That's right.
But how tough is it in that kind of humidity?
It's tough, but you have to also remember what has happened here in Philadelphia the last couple of weeks. Humidity high, 90-degree temperature. So I think these guys, as they get more and more conditioned, they'll be prepared to play down there. We're not going to allow the weather to be an excuse. I think, of course, going to Tampa Bay, it's going to be hot. Prepare yourself, hydrate. That's something that Doug is going to preach all week long.
Brian, the other intangible is that the Eagles fans will show up and take over Tampa. Do you hear it? Do the players hear it? Do the players feel it? Does it make a difference on game day?
Well, it's a good feeling when you walk out of the locker room for warm-ups or even for the beginning of the game, and all you hear is E-A-G-L-E-S. I mean, you hear the screaming throughout the. It's a good feeling. It's a warming feeling. It doesn't help your play, but it definitely feels good to feel that, and it almost feels like you're at home. You feel more comfortable.
So we learned a lot about the Eagles on Thursday night. We find out a lot about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as they open their season against the New Orleans Saints. We think they're a solid team, but we also know that they are a beatable team in week number 2.
Beatable team. We should go down there and do what we do good. Run the football, make sure that we have conservative passing, but also some explosive plays. That's what we didn't have in the first week. I think defensively, continue the same. Pressure the quarterback, allow your DBs to be aggressive. If we can do that, I think we'll be fine.
Well, you talk about the Tampa Bay defense. They allowed a completion percentage of 67.6 last year, 29th in the league. So maybe some opportunities for the Eagles in the pass game. Brian Westbrook, Dave Spadaro. It's our first look at our week 2 opponent, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.